Hey, good morning and welcome everybody. My name is the Watcher on the Web, and I am joined by a wonderful co-host here, Joe Dolio. How you doing, Joe?
Well and good all at the same time and simultaneously.
Excellent. This is the Council on Future Conflicts, and yeah, today we're going to be talking about a little bit of chaos happening south of the border and the situation happening in Ukraine on the ground after the peace talks. And I sense maybe things won't be as simple as everyone was kind of hoping. So we'll get to that though. Uh, let's see, Joe. Anything to share with everybody over before we get started?
Well, first of all, I see a lot of people commenting on the punctuality of the show. I'm not going to down anyone who's not here, but me and Watcher know how to handle our business. And that. Anyway, and and y'all in the chat also commenting about the desert. Look, man, I got my fill of desert over the last 20 years, and it's hot, and there are bugs there, and there are snakes, and I just don't get it. But
Yeah.
anyway, um, no, it's been a good couple of days here. Quiet couple of days. Mrs. Tactical Wisdom is in Nebraska, where nobody goes voluntarily. So got the place pretty much to myself. Although we had a little bit of a power outage last night, that's always fun. Of course, the power went out 5 minutes after I started making dinner, so I had to shuffle it out to the forever stove and cook it over the fire, but still worked. It's a good time, man.
A little
Life
more
in the back
rustic.
country.
Yeah. Yeah, a little more rustic, but nice, but nice.
I'm here for the
Well,
rustic life, baby.
yeah, I'm just a little hesitant to find out what kind of adventures you and Yogi get up to while the missus is in Nebraska. I think we'll find some of those vehicles taken out of the shed and raced around the camp.
A lot going on, right?
Right? No more desert for me, thanks. Yeah.
I could barely hear you again today.
Oh boy. Okay. That's better.
Yes, much.
All right. Huh. Yeah, it wasn't a problem in the other room, and suddenly we move over and it is. Anyways, yeah, let's move on into odds and ends, I suppose. You brought us this one, Joe. Actually, let me blow that one up a little bit. What do you want to say about the this hurricane update that we've got?
So I just want everyone to be aware that this issue is out there and the hurricane is around, and you don't want to sleep on it. It's now a Category 2, and the coast of North Carolina and South Carolina, excuse me, are now within the wind currents. Scroll down a little bit and you'll see the wind chart there. It shows that the winds are now hitting the shore and that the tropical storm force weather will begin hitting there. So start taking a look at that, be aware of it, have some supplies and be ready, and and check it out. So there's the actual storm. The red is the tropical storm, and the purple is the hurricane. It's Category 2. As you see, it's already moving up our coast. There's a storm track a little bit further down. It shows where all the watches and warnings are and where it's going to go. So just be aware of it and pay attention to it. It's going to bring a lot of water with it and a lot of wind. So,
Jeez, man. Just what South Carolina needed. Although Virginia, that's fine. Give them a wash.
yeah.
Hopefully everybody's fine. Hopefully everybody takes this one seriously after the last couple we've had that went haywire and went a little further north than we thought they were going to.
Yeah. Hey, and now for Charlie, if you got any wind or rain from that, let me know. Be interested to hear.
right. Well, the next one we have is not quite as exciting as catastrophic weather, but it is catastrophic for some people. Turns out that when you take over government and commit a whole shit ton of crimes, and then it gets turned over to somebody else, they get to go over your paperwork, and it's not always a good thing. Here's Lee Zeldon talking about what he's found over at the EPA.
When I was going through the confirmation process, this video comes out that was done through Project Veritas, but it was of a Biden EPA employee who was talking about how the agency was tossing gold bars off the Titanic, rushing to get billions of dollars out the door before Inauguration Day. He was also talking about the desire to get themselves jobs at the recipient NGOs. And these members of the Senate, it was coming from Senate Republicans who were asking, demanding, if confirmed, would you please make it a top priority to quickly get to the bottom of it? Absolutely, was my response, with great enthusiasm and eagerness. And our team quickly was able to trace down so much. Basically, every time we overturned a rock, we found something under it that was either filled with self-dealing and conflicts of interest, unqualified recipients, or reduced agency oversight. And when Democrats had one party rule in Washington, D.C., they passed this bill called the Inflation Reduction Act that had tens of billions of dollars to go out through EPA. Well, EPA didn't know how to spend tens of billions of dollars. So they decided to park $20 billion at an outside bank and to have that bank send the money through 8 pass-through entities. All these NGOs, pass-through entities that were riddled with self-dealing and conflicts of interest, former Obama and Biden officials, Democratic donors, as you pointed out. And the EPA was a party to the account control agreement with those prime recipients. But here's the thing, when the money goes through the prime recipients to others, in many cases also pass-throughs, EPA no longer is a party to the account control agreement. EPA is a losing oversight by design. Intentionally, these grant agreements, these arrangements were set up to tie EPA's hands behind its back.
There's a lot to be said there, but I'd be curious to hear from a forensic investigator your thoughts on the subject so far.
Well, whenever you put out big piles of money that you're told to spend and not really account for, people are like, oh, I got a great idea with that. My wife now just happens to be a contractor for the Department of Education or Department of Environmental Protection, and poof, out goes the money. And it gets really crazy. There's a lot of violations of trust out there. And, man, it's rough. But, again, unaccounted for money leads to this. And just like the NGO scam, where everyone set up an NGO and got USAID money or National Endowment for Democracy / CIA money, but then I repeat myself. It becomes like a free cash printing machine, and people just took advantage of it.
I just that seems so against human nature, Joe. I mean,
it's almost like it's human nature to just take advantage of the system.
Oh man. Real quick, I just clicked over to Rumble and I just realized that there have been a bunch of Rumble rants that I missed, which is part of what I was chuckling at. First of all, Squishy Hunter for $1 CFC start time, 9 o'clock or best offer. I like it. Thank you very much here. Biggin599 for $20 says, my new diet isn't compatible with most local restaurants, so here's my lunch money. Aw, man, thank you so much. And then Hunch Dirty Roofer for $5 says, chat, due to his new business venture, the watcher now goes by Watcherito. Not quite. Oh, and one more from JB Bjornson just now. Morning all, CFC chat grew by 1 yesterday. Healthy little girl made her arrival on her due date. Congratulations! Hey! Oh man, love to hear that. All 10 fingers, all 10 toes. That's the important part. Excellent, excellent.
we've had a lot of babies born in the CFC community, and that's pretty awesome, Jake Bjornsson.
Yeah. Oh man, the strategy's working, Joe. We can collect those CIA funds for bumping up the population level.
Yeah, we are going to solve the population problem right here.
All right, let's let Lee Zeldon finish real quick.
I could sit here with you. You could ask me 10, 15, 20 of the first most important questions that come to mind as far as where the money was going after it leaves the pass-through entities. And the crazy thing is how little I would be able to answer, even today, this far after Inauguration Day. That is by design. The DOJ has been investigating. The Inspector General's office has been investigating. I terminated all of it.
Is there any way of getting the money back?
Absolutely.
Yes.
This has been going through a litigation process. It's at an appeals court right now in the federal court system. And we are basically at the end of a closeout period now, because when these grants get turned.
I have to say before we move on, when she said, "Is there any way to get the money back?" you could hear the sound of 1,000 DC assholes puckering all at once. It was amazing.
I've always found that guns work very well to get your stolen money back.
Facts.
120-day closeout period, and this money should be recovered for the American public. And I'm proud to be able to do my part with this great team here to figure out, one, where the money went. They tossed the gold bars off the Titanic. Right. I was told to go out and find the gold bars. We found the gold bars, and we're bringing them back on board. And we're doing that for the American public, and we're proud of it. When I was going through the confirmation.
Good. You should be proud of it. That's that has been one of the more demoralizing things, has been watching the Treasury get raided and thinking that these people just are going to get away with it.
Well, I hope they don't do the typical thing that's done in business and just get their money back. People also need to be prosecuted. We need some signs set up to people.
Yeah, that's facts.
Because as my sticker points out, it's Rhodesian Light Infantry. We are all Rhodesians in the war to impose global the global homo agenda.
There you go. The big GAE. All right. So our last bit of news is from the home front, folks. We had an interesting occurrence in the Baltimore harbor. A ship exploded not far off the pier. Or there was an explosion aboard a ship, I should say. The ship itself did not explode. I'm just going to play some of these real quick, and then we'll get to the commentary about what actually happened.
Dude, what the fuck?
We should have known this smoking.
What the fuck just happened?
Holy crap. I knew it was a gem. Jesus, you heard that. We were like, it was an
Ma, you'll never guess what we just got to see.
A boat just exploded right near us.
Yeah.
We heard it. We turn around and there's smoke everywhere. Mayday, mayday.
Yeah.
It's going to hit
What
the news
fuck
for
is
sure.
going on, bro?
Out enjoying the last week of summer with your friends on the water.
Well, on this one, I will point out that it is not out of the realm of possibility for a coal carrier to have an explosion. It's very common.
Yes.
In empty holes. So it appears as though this was indeed a coal carrier. There was an empty cargo hold in the front. So a dust explosion does make sense. However, they're not normally that spectacular in appearance. If you've seen the video of the explosion,
Yeah.
it was rather enthusiastic. A dust explosion is usually just a big boom. There's not really a lot of flame. This one had a lot of flame. So, who knows? We shall see. And tech team outside of Baltimore in Baltimore Harbor, Chesapeake Bay.
Yeah. So here we have the information from. So by the way, if you guys ever want to figure out what's going on with any kind of commercial shipping venture, John is who I follow for that, and John is followed by crap tons of ship captains all over the world who all get the scuttlebutt shared out. In this case, Sal is the one who came forward with the correct info.
Sal's
He
a
is
pretty solid follow too.
yeah, the chair of the history. Yeah. Anyhow, so she was a coal carrier leaving the CSX Curtis Bay Piers for Mauritius. The radio report says no injuries. Looks like a coal dust explosion, one of the forward holds. So, I, for one, believe Spain must be to blame for this.
I believe Spain, but using their famous operative Samo Hyalo is probably the guy.
They can't keep getting away with this, Joe.
Can't keep getting away with this.
Early reports said fire prior to explosion. Well, that would explain the flames, because that's how coal dust acts around a fire.
But coal dust doesn't catch fire, then explode. It explodes, then catches fire. So
Yeah.
it is just odd, but it is not unheard of in the realm of maritime life.
Well, it's that
It's
time of day again, Joe.
Question that
Oh, go ahead.
that maritime security teams ask ship captains all the time. Hey, have you ever carried coal? Because we don't want to be shooting firearms in places where there is coal dust. It is not a good thing. So,
Holy cow. Pinochet's helicopter tour says, good morning, everybody. Hello from my hospital bed prior to a heart catheterization.
well,
My
listen,
friend, I wish you well.
Yeah, we absolutely wish you well. Oh, you know what? Yeah, Pinochet, we do wish you well, brother. Let us know how that goes. Also, there was another child born. They didn't make an announcement in the chat, but we have another CFC child born last week in Missoula, Montana, from some other fans. Washer, I believe you've met them here on site before last year, not this year. But good people, so you know who you are.
Fantastic.
Congratulations, and we can't wait to get over to your house and meet the new one. So,
Awesome. That'll be great.
yep.
Man. See, Scott's worried about the fan base growing, and I'm just telling him we're going about it the long way.
You know what else I'm going to do for Pinochet, just to cheer him up and keep him in good spirits? I'm going to trip a communist today, just for you. I'm going into town. I'm going to come across a communist for sure. I will trip one. It's not the same as throwing him out of a helicopter, but it's the best I can do for you.
That's the own body weight exercise version of that activity, I suppose.
Nothing wrong with that. Maybe I'll spin him around once first in the air and then drop him.
There you go. There you go.
Maybe give him a
Traditional.
helicopter.
Joe, do you have anything to say beyond people go to tacticalwisdom.com, click the Tactical Wisdom series, buy the books.
Buy all of the books. Buy many of the books. We've got to get some book stuff done before Fallout Mountain Readiness in October, because I very sillily, is that a word? Committed to having that book with me at Mountain Readiness. So we'll be working to get number 6 out and really push that. And we're really looking forward to getting out to just some more classes. We have Fieldcraft this weekend, followed by Community Security Ops. And then next weekend, we have Combatives, 3-day self-defense course where we learn unarmed self-defense, pressure points, and ground fighting on Friday. We do knife and stick combat on Saturday. And then on Sunday, we dive into cold firearms combatives. The cool thing about that is that if you come and take any or all of the segments of combatives, you can come back and take that segment forever at no cost, because I want you to come and practice the techniques and at least get some more reps in, and maybe see what's new in the area. You have to actually get out there and do that kind of stuff. And then the weekend after that, we have a couple of short 1 day and half day classes. Getting Home is a class on building a get home bag and a get home plan. That's coming up on September 6th, 1 day class. And then September 7th, we've got a 4-hour class on Baofeng basics. How to shut off the angry Chinese lady, how to program your radio, how to set it up for use. And then after that, I believe we have another round of community security. Scroll down for me there, Watcher. Or not. Whatever. What works for you?
Oh, I did. This is down. You want more?
No, it's not on the screen. It didn't show up on my screen. That's okay. But we have lots of other classes, culminating with the Fieldcraft course out at NC Scouts Place in October, which is filling up quickly. If you're thinking about it and you're on the fence, you should probably get a slot before we close it. It's the weekend or the week after Mountain Readiness. We're going to do Mountain Readiness. There'll be a 1 day break. Then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I'm going to do Fieldcraft. And then we're going to do Scout and Recce starting from Friday and working all the way through the following Wednesday. So a lot of good stuff going on. Get up there, get trained, make something happen. Come out and join us.
Fantastic stuff. And speaking of which, we also want to thank our other sponsor, which is the Brush Beater Store. I'm going to do it much less eloquently, but I'm going to do it my way. Hey guys, head on over to Brush Beater. They're fantastic. They not only support your community and shows that you like, they are your kind of people. If you haven't met Matt already, you can. Just head on over to their storehouse. They teach classes there. They have a dark room ready to test out all the night vision so you can actually see what everything's going to look like. I believe, I don't know if they have a range or will have a range to test out optics. Is that correct, Joe, or am I?
No, not on site. You go over to NC Scouts Place.
Okay.
It's literally 5 miles down the road.
So yeah.
Do that. So.
Just a fantastic operation. If you're able to get there physically, do so. If you're not able to get there physically, shop on their website. Use code CFC10 for 5% off almost everything on the site. There are a couple of exceptions, but almost everything from classes to gear, we got you covered. And why not buy it from a homie?
And by the way, he has his own line of optics, Kyber Pass optics.
Oh,
logos and all
excellent.
of that were designed by Haley Shane. She's a fantastic marketing person. And I see a couple people have ordered some Kyber Pass optics. Listen, they are really good. Don't sleep on the Kyber Pass optics. I've got one of the MDOs, and I'm currently testing the RMR that will be coming out. Matt's done a lot of work on getting these done. Quality glass, quality manufacturing, just good stuff. Check out the Kyber Pass optics.
There you have it. And, if you happen to want to look through Kyber Pass Optic, if you end up at a CFC event, you will almost certainly have one pressed up against your eye at some point. I think I saw 3 at this last one.
Yeah. Hey, Hunch says that these kids need some RBS pattern onesies. My wife has made... a pink CFC or a pink tactical wisdom onesie for the kid in Missoula. So Jay Bjornson, send me a DM with an address, and we will
size.
Get out a tactical wisdom onesie to the child. 100%.
Oh man, now you're gonna make me. Now here's the fun thing, right? We could do some really cool future conflict onesies because onesies are all pretty dang small, and so I can just use the machine I already have for it. So let me think about that.
Still has the CFC logo. I'll see if she could do that, but the CFC logo is harder for her to do.
No. That's what I'm saying. I can do it on the machine that I have, and so let me think about it. Let me see what can be done. We could maybe do some fun stuff with that. I'd have to get somebody to do like a chibi version of Major Tom, though.
She made an SVG file of all that. You probably already have it though. But.
Yeah, that's good stuff. All right. Well, Joe, I guess into the main topic we go. Things are getting a little crazy between the U.S. and Mexico. But let's start with some good news, shall we? An illegal alien influencer who doxed ICE agents is arrested on live stream. Tatiana Martinez, who lives in Los Angeles because of course, is known for tracking ICE agents and using her TikTok account to alert protesters to the locations of their arrests. She's a Colombian citizen who entered the U.S. illegally in 2022, according to DHS. She was released into the country by the Biden administration along with millions of other illegals. According to DHS Assistant Secretary Tricia McLaughlin, Martinez was arrested for a previous DUI conviction in Los Angeles. This makes her a prime target for deportation under the Trump administration's crackdown on migrants.
That's beautiful.
The squeaky wheel gets greased. We'll just kind of watch and comment as we watch them rip her out of her car and arrest her. I'm a big fan of the way things have been going. Don't dox ICE agents. Also, don't enter the country illegally. Also, don't drink and drive.
And if you're going to do all of those things anyway, don't brag about it on social media. Which, by the way, is geolocated. Duh.
So, I just thought you guys would appreciate this one.
That right there is just a beautiful, beautiful story. Human interest story. Touches the heart. Warms your heart.
More video of the arrest. She seems to be playing like she's unresponsive, or maybe she has legitimately screamed herself to sleep. Let me get a full screen of this.
What she should have done would have been the funniest thing ever. It said, "What is the crime?"
What's the charge?
Yeah. A dude needs to trade in his plate carrier and get something a little bit, more befitting his girth.
Yeah. Well, actually, funnily enough, not even in response to this, I think, but a friend of ours did post something that might work.
Oh, yeah.
Explain.
I sent him that photo in confidence. You guys all picked up on it over there in the chat real good.
Doxing an ICE agent, a succulent ice jump out boy. He must be the local.
Yeah, like she's got to stand by and supervise, like she's important.
Oh man. So
that's a good story. Yeah.
It is a good one, and arrests continue to happen. Downtown LA specifically continues to be a target, and it's almost as if the mayor, yelling and screaming that federal authorities can't do their jobs, has prompted federal authorities to decide to do their jobs. Who would have guessed such an outcome? At the same. Oh, go ahead.
That guy and his body armor made me think of something. I'm thinking about coming out with my own line of body armor and helmet, and call it the Ephesians line, the helmet of salvation. That would be my helmet. And your plates, because I happen to have some right here in front of me, will be the breastplate of righteousness. Just like in the book.
I can see the marketing already.
Yeah,
put on the full armor of God.
By the way, I'm going to point out, and I'm not really trying to slam the guy, but the Hoplite Industries helmets, not the helmet of salvation. Yeah.
Give that some
He
time.
is going back to the drawing board. He is talking to the manufacturer. So
Yeah.
kudos to him. But level 3, they are not.
Yeah, give that some time to cook.
Yep.
Joe, this next one is a story brought to us by you, I think. Do you want to tell us about these? Oh no, this was me. So yeah, we're sending 3 warships towards the coast of Venezuela, as Maduro is mobilizing 4.5 million militia members.
Good stuff. So, I pointed out the similarities when we issued the $50 million reward for Maduro. I pointed out the similarities between Venezuela and Panama and Maduro and Noriega. One of the things Noriega did when we issued a warrant against him is he mobilized the Machos del Monte, the mountain men, which was his own private militia / mountain warfare group, half civilian, half military, kind of civilian militia. And Maduro's doing the exact same thing. We are on the same trajectory here. So,
yeah, 3 Aegis-class destroyers are set to arrive off Venezuela's coast within 24 hours, which is said to be part of the Trump administration's effort to counter threats from Latin American drug cartels. As per Reuters, the deployed American ships are the USS Graverly, USS John Dunham, and USS Sampson. The U.S. military has also previously announced on August 22nd that air and naval forces will be deployed to the Caribbean with more than 4,000 sailors and Marines, as the Trump administration shows increasing willingness to use military force to combat drug trafficking in Latin America. Maduro's response: the mobilization of U.S. military assets follows Washington's recent decision to increase the bounty on Maduro's capture, doubling it, as Joe just said, to an unprecedented $50 million. Last week, U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi announced the seizure of assets worth $700 million from Venezuelan head of state. What? Stop. What? Why would Venezuela still have assets in the U.S.? How long have we had them under sanctions? It's been a long time.
well, they make these claims, but it doesn't mean that he actually has it, right?
Gotcha.
We're seizing his U.S. assets. He's banned from travel to the U.S. Neat. He's never been there.
Yeah. In an official statement published on Tuesday, the Venezuelan government said the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela observes with total clarity the desperation of the United States administration, which resorts to threats and defamation against our country. Washington's accusation that Venezuela is involved in drug trafficking reveals their lack of credibility and the failure of its policies in the region. Good Lord. That is an incredibly bold statement, to say the least. This would be part of a plan of peace with militias that would be prepared, active, and armed, the leader said on live television. So they're going to start passing out weapons now, I guess, but only to their, quote, loyalist militias? Maduro then further urged his political base to mobilize into rural and industrial militias. That's right, because didn't they basically just pass a law that said that only our side, only our political party can carry weapons?
I'm sorry, say that again.
I can't remember when they did the disarming. I don't think they disarmed everybody in the country, right? It was literally just basically, hey, anybody who's not part of our political party can't have weapons.
Right.
Rifles and missiles for the rural forces to defend Venezuela's territory. Really? Missiles? Really? Alright. Speaking to allies at a political event Monday evening, Maduro affirmed to defend sovereignty. Our seas, our skies, and our land are defended by us, liberated by us, guarded and patrolled by us. No empire will come to touch the sacred soil of Venezuela. You know what? Now I want to. I didn't want to 5 minutes ago. I thought this was probably a dumb move 5 minutes ago. You know what? Fuck him. I'm gonna touch his soil.
Hey, I have a question. Did that story actually call the ship the John Dunham or just the Dunham?
Let's check. John Dunham.
There is no John Dunham. It's the USS Jason Dunham, it's named after a Marine. So,
And then also they used the aircraft carrier.
yeah, and that's also a carrier, not a destroyer. And there's a frigate in that photo, not a destroyer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting use of material there, Latin American reports.
Well, yeah.
Anyways.
It's not exactly a major news outlet, but
Anyways. So it sounds like Maduro's really rattling sabers. I'm not sure though. How do you think this goes, Joe? Are we talking like a quick snatch and grab invasion? You know, send in the spooky boys, let them do the work. Or are we talking like maybe an actual fight? I don't think Venezuela would last very long in an actual fight.
well, the fact that the EOGIMA Amphibious Ready Group was part of that task force when it set out tells you that that is highly likely. 3rd Battalion, 6th Marines was on board, and they're headed that way. But the EWO had to turn back because Hurricane Aaron was directly in their path. But I wanted to share this story because it lists the units involved. It's the first time we've deployed an amphibious ready group in a while, ever since we had them off the coast of Syria when we had 2 there. But this one turned back, and in the article it lists the ships and the it's the Iwo Jima, the Fort Lauderdale, and the San Antonio. Typically, that's what an ARG is: 3 landing ships, and then a battalion of Marines. So, the battalion landing team on this is 3rd Battalion, 6th Marines. There is a tilt rotor helicopter squadron on there, which has got regular helicopters plus Osprey, and a combat logistics group. But the original plan was for the 22nd to go to the Mediterranean, 6th Fleet, but it was diverted and sent to the Caribbean. It was supposed to join those other 3 ships. It will after the hurricane passes, but in a flat top, it is way better to weather a hurricane in port than it is at sea, especially when you have 3,000 Marines in the hull with nothing to do other than vomit on the floor. So they're going to ride it out and then head south. But us parking 3,000 Marines off the shore of Venezuela would indicate some issues, some planned ground activity.
Yeah, or at least certainly preserving the option. It would also be interesting to see what maybe, shall we say, mercenary outfits might be looking to use the cover provided.
Oh, for sure, that's already going on. And if you look, the bands of that storm are right now off the coast of Venezuela down there.
Yeah.
So, rough.
Very rough. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how many mercenary groups use the cover provided by an American naval group being in the area to potentially try some shady shit.
Yeah. Crazy.
There's another system brewing, says Guy Vermectin, which is timed to approach the Northern Caribbean over the weekend. Hurricane season. It's great.
That's actually, if you look on there, there's actually 2 more. But they're just tropical depressions at this point.
Don't you love hurricane season? It's just the best.
Almost like it's hurricane season.
Yeah. So Maduro says he's
I understand Hunch has applied to be a contractor with a 22nd MEU because he wants to do screening of BBLs. That's not a thing, Hunch. It's not a thing.
yeah, no. The whole Maduro diet that they went on down there kind of prevents such.
Yeah, it has reduced the bigness of the booties. Sorry. The Djibouti there is not as good as it is in, say, Djibouti.
So the word is that Nicolas Maduro says he's deploying 4.5 million militia members in response to outlandish threats. Huh. 4.5 million, huh?
Which is interesting given that the population of Venezuela is roughly 30 million.
Yeah.
So
Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro on Monday said he would deploy 4.5 million militia members in response to outlandish threats. I mean, not really outlandish. You've had a bounty on your head for a very long time that's been juicy enough for a lot of people to consider. I don't know how outlandish any of that is.
Did I say 4.5 million? I meant 4.500. That's actually what I could mobilize on any given day.
Probably roughly accurate. Or how many they can feed, anyways. This week I will activate a special plan with more than 4.5 million militiamen to ensure coverage of the entire national territory. Ah, yes, because that's what all brilliant military strategists generally recommend, is to disperse your forces evenly in an area. That is the path to victory.
Well, when you live in a country like Venezuela, mobilizing a large number of people is actually easy because you'll tell them this: if you get mobilized, we'll cook for you. You'll actually get to eat.
Yeah, just set out a couple of flyers that essentially say, "Hey, free barbecue at X place," and the riot makes itself. Officials say the Venezuelan militia, founded by Maduro's predecessor Hugo Chavez, contains about 5 million people, although the actual number is believed to be smaller. Yes, I think that's probably accurate. Yes. Venezuela's total population is 30 million. Maduro lambasts the renewal of extravagant, bizarre, and outlandish threats by the U.S. We're also deployed throughout the Caribbean, in our sea, our property, the Venezuelan territory, Interior Minister Diosdado Caballo said. The administration of President Trump earlier this month doubled its bounty. Yeah. Washington, which does not
consider that part of Guyana to be their territory.
Oh, interesting. Washington, which does not recognize Maduro's past 2 election victories, accuses the Venezuelans of leading a cocaine trafficking gang called Cartel del Sols. The Trump administration announced sanctions against the group and Maduro's administration last month. Earlier this month, Trump directed the military to target drug cartels in Latin America, a source familiar with the matter confirmed to CBS News. The U.S. military has also reportedly deployed several vessels to the Southern Caribbean as part of President Trump's crackdown, thank you, on Latin American drug cartels. 2 sources briefed on the matter told Reuters news agency that 3 U.S. destroyers will arrive off the coast of Venezuela soon. So off the coast would probably mean we'll probably get right up to their EEZ. Yeah. Joe? I'm just wondering what the plan is. Just sit there and park and wait for the Venezuelans to try something stupid, or?
I think they're just there to actually risk or actually make them think that they're going to invade, and really we're just going to use sanctions to try and drive them out. They may actually just be there lend moral support to the Venezuelan resistance, such that it is. Let's not forget what we did to the one guy who actually stood up to him, which was nothing. We gave him no support. Guaido, or whatever his name was. but we'll be down there just to put pressure on them. There may be some maritime interdiction operations, but other than that, I don't know that we're going to invade there. Not yet. We're not on that much of a collision course, but we are following the same path.
It would be very interesting if we saw. Well, I don't know how much maritime interdictions are going to do, though. Is Venezuela stuff coming up here by sea? Because I thought it was mostly coming up by land.
Yeah, I don't know.
Rifles and missiles for the peasant force. Yes, I would love to see the Venezuelan peasant forces with missile teams. That would be... Also give them cameras, though, please. We want to see the proficiency of these rural missile teams in Venezuela. I think that'll go very well.
For killer teams, as it were. Yeah.
All right, well,
for $2 says, who remembers them marching with Moses? Hey, listen, I would rather face an AK than a Mosin gun. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Does tend to hit a little harder.
The 7.62 by 54 round is a legit round. I'd rather take a 5.45 than that any day.
All right. I bet you I can hit that mount. Oh, that's happening. That is happening. Rural missile forces, yes. Impromptu accuracy training. It will be a thing. That's good Lord. Having peasants seems to be a commie thing. It really does. Well, depends on how you word it, but you know, I think that is something that that is why Islamic cultures are jiving so well with the current run of Marxists, is that they both believe in slavery. But next, migrant crimes against children pile up in the Boston area as mayor slams Bondi over sanctuary warning.
She's like, look, crime isn't rising in my city. Meanwhile, crime is indeed rising in her city, particularly crimes against children.
Yeah, I don't know what their strategy was. I suspect it was, hey, it's fine. When we were in charge, we stopped allowing them to collect the data, and people will just believe the data, right? And people aren't believing the cooked data. People, A, they saw that you cooked the data, and B, I mean, you had to, like, that's part of this that I don't understand. Like, you had to announce all of that publicly. So you're mostly, I guess the strategy is, our voters are the least informed people, so we can still radicalize them even though we're obviously wrong. But you lose the middle, though, and isn't that the whole point? Aren't we all fighting over the hearts and minds of the middle so that we can help sway what happens? Maybe I'm crazy.
No, I think the truth is this. We're not playing to the middle. She has a responsibility to protect the citizens, even the ones she doesn't like. She has a responsibility as the mayor to enforce the law, and even the laws she doesn't agree with. So she is putting her people at risk, putting her children at risk, and continuing to do ludicrous things despite what's actually happening. This is the UK experiment. Just being done in Boston, just, almost like Boston was one of the places that was key to us separating from the British example the first time. Crazy.
Facts. Let's see. Numerous migrant suspects have been arrested on charges involving abuse of children in recent years in eastern Massachusetts. The cases have returned to the fore as Boston Mayor Michelle Wu fired back Tuesday at Attorney General Pam Bondi over her letter threatening potential withholding of federal funds. Potential? You should. I'm sorry, but no, that should be an automatic. You're a sanctuary city. Goodbye federal funding, all of it. But instead, what did we get? Chat, we got a sternly worded letter letting her know that, well, we'll do it. Just do it. What, Joe? Why?
There should be no funding. There should be no federal law enforcement done in the rest of that city. Okay, you don't want us here, we won't be here. Wait, no. I want you here for drug enforcement. Nope, we're not here for that. We want you here for bank robbery enforcement. Nope, we're not here for that. And just totally cut these places off and make them islands. Exactly what they want. You want sanctuary? That's fine, but sanctuary is a double-edged curse. Sanctuary is also a prison. We're going to lock you in there with these people.
Well, my question is more like, okay, so I'm glad that they're actually doing something about it. Great. And I get that, like, you only have so much attention, right? They've been focusing on LA and Seattle and a couple of those other areas where, obviously they've been a lot louder and squeakier wheels, so they're going to get the grease first. I'm fine with, hey, we're however many days in the Trump administration and we're just now getting to Boston. That part's okay. The part that I'm weirded out about is, why the fuck are we still writing letters at this point? Shouldn't this have just been shouldn't the letter have been, hi, we warned you already because you've decided to continue your sanctuary city status. Here is a letter informing you that you no longer have federal funding. Instead of, oh, here's a mean letter, we're gonna do it, I promise.
If they really cared, they would say, by the way, your last name is Wu. You're out.
Yeah, well. I'm not going to go into some of these stuff because I don't like using the words YouTube makes you use in order to be able to talk about these kinds of things, but let's just say that multiple heinous crimes against children.
Let's just say it's not going well for the kids in Boston. And what's funny is that she'll make the gun control argument and say, if it saves just one kid, we have to do it.
Yeah, they always do. Because it's always about power. The issue is never the issue. The issue is always the revolution. I hate them for this, too. Do you remember that honestly, Joe, people ask all the time, like, why can't we just go back to how things were? Well, we can't go back to how things were because back in the day we'd have a conversation and it would be about things like this, and then people would look at the issue and try and fix it. Now, half the people are doing that, and the other half of the people are deliberately ignoring it, which everybody sees, in order to try and push their own political power and agenda. And it makes it makes me utterly sick. Like, I can't interact with those people anymore. I have started shutting them out of my life entirely. But I don't understand how we as a nation go on when I know that I'm not alone. I've talked to a lot of other people about it. I don't understand how we go on as a nation like this. We're very divided, and it's not along state lines. It's a dividing line between some people's kitchen.
Yeah. Yep.
And it's not gonna, like, that's the other problem, is that we're talking about these utterly heinous crimes that are affecting an entire, like, we're gonna see an entire generation that grew up as children during this time period when we had this migrant surge, that are like the amount of sexual crimes that have happened against these kids are significantly higher than generations previous. So now call it between 5 and 10 years in the future, we're looking at a bunch of even more broken adults entering an even more broken society. I am super thrilled about this. Thanks, Boston.
Yep. Won't somebody think of the children?
It's a weirdo factory. Well, yeah, which is kind of sad, right? Because my old image of Boston came from a lot of working class Boston people, the kind of guys who, made fun of the people who live up in Braintree and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know what kind of city elects this. That's.
Yeah, I hate that woman. Matt L. points out that my short story in Sibley's second Apocalypse in Pieces book was a fun read. Listen, if you want a story that has downtown Detroit, gratuitous bayoneting, and Baofeng radios, you might want to check out Apocalypse in Pieces and read the short story A Walk in the City. So, pretty fantastic. There may or may not be a full book coming out along those lines, but
That sounds interesting, man. I hope you do a full fiction book. I know a lot of people have been behind the scenes begging you for one. So,
well, and there's others trying to force their way into putting my name on their book, but we shall see.
well, yeah, there's that too. Speaking of which, how do you happen to know, as a co-contributor, how well the Apocalypse in Pieces series is doing?
I don't. That is a question best asked of Mr. Sibley, who is obviously way too important and cool to hang out with us anymore. So,
Oh yeah. I think his coffee shop got more loud or something.
I heard that if you say his name 3 times at a campsite in front of a campfire, he will appear.
I've heard that only applies if whiskey, which is at least $60 per bottle, is present in large enough quantities.
That was the funniest part of that night. I pour us each a glass from my Buffalo Trace bottle, which was about 3/4 full. And I get to work building a fire, and Sibley's sitting down. And about a half hour later, I'm like, hey, I need a refill. And he goes, yeah, about that. I owe you another bottle of whiskey because it's gone. I'm like, what? It's gone? You drank all that? He's like, it was good. I'm like, okay. So I took advantage of him when he was drunk.
Sorry, I just got
Joke,
an email
by the
from...
way. Everyone like paused. It was like, what?
Oh, sorry. Give me a second.
No, Rick, it's not Captain Dolio. The book is entirely different. Or my short story is about a security team that gets caught in downtown Detroit when the power goes out, and Iranian terrorists attack downtown. So they have to fight their way out of downtown against local gangs and whatever, working their way around. It's really good. And I don't know what a washer is, so I'll just pan for a minute. The problem with
Sorry about that.
Brianna Wu is the same problem as with all leftists. They can't see the forest for their trees. They're so busy resisting Trump, they don't realize that that's not in the best interest of their people.
Well, yeah. I mean, a lot of that comes down to that they use a lot of mind judo in order to construct a false world in which their side isn't the bad guy. And if they start to acknowledge any portion of which that might lead them down the trail to realizing that the people who are leading them are the people that they need to be, that they really need to be fighting against, they have like these inbuilt mechanisms that stop them from doing so, but that would mean I'm not on the good guy team anymore.
Right. Well, and here's the thing, like Gretchen Whitmer, she started to go down the right path when Donald Trump offered a bunch of money for a bunch of infrastructure projects. And when she accepted it, the left came for her and like drove her out. Right. So you have to understand it's like a complete disease. They feel like our side is a cult. Their side literally is a cult. Crazy.
Well, and yeah, one side is using actual cult tactics, like word for word out of some of the guides that you'll find on how cults operate. The other side is not.
CWSB, we don't mention Detroit urban survival training on this channel. So don't even put them in the comments. That guy's a clown.
That one video he had go viral a couple years ago. Was it
There's an entire series of videos of people making fun of his videos. Like, he'll do some self-defense scenario, and then somebody will get attacked, and they'll be like, "Here I go," and then they're like, and then all of a sudden they're in heaven. They're like, "Man, I knew that wasn't hilarious."
I've seen ones where dudes are like practicing his stuff but using Nerf guns on each other, just nailing each other in the eye every time.
There is actually a video where he's demonstrating a knife technique that one of his people had to have learned from me, because I'm the only person who teaches it, and he messes it up terribly. I was like, if I still lived in Michigan, I would sue them because it's literally right here in my copyrighted material. So, anyway.
Yeah, that's what it was. The weapon snatch. The weapon snatch is the one that was the first video I ever saw from him. Somebody was like, "You're an instructor, right? Check this out." And I was like, "What in the ever living fuck did I just watch?" Well, Joe, we've I guess the only thing we haven't really talked about, and I suppose that's because we kind of called it and predicted it way earlier, is that the military is now supposedly taking action against the cartels. Have you seen those stories?
No.
So this is, they did not officially announce it. This is all reporters behind the scenes saying that, hey, quiet stuff is happening, which, would lean towards certain spooky boys being leaned on. But yeah, they are going after, from what I understand from these reporters, the operation's actually been going on for like a couple weeks now. I don't know. It's still unclear like how much of it is just us being down there and then providing Mexican assets intel and guidance, right? Or how much of it actually is just our guys going down and schwacking people. But I would look for more news of that coming out within the next couple weeks, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy.
Moving into our second story, though. How about that peace in Ukraine, guys?
How about that?
Western security guarantees could include building a stronger Ukrainian military. There's a lot of promises being bandied around right now, and one of the ones that unfortunately I don't see any way of us getting out of it is, hey, guess what? Not only did we get to pay for the war, and we've already talked about the fact that U.S. contractors are lining up for the civilian side of rebuilding, the government is now apparently hopping on the yes, and let's make sure that we rebuild the Ukrainian military bigger and better than ever.
Build back better. It seems like I've heard that phrase somewhere before.
Yeah, somebody. There's a geriatric voice in my head when I hear it. I can't place it. Keir Starmer, of course he's the one pushing this, on Tuesday praised the real sense of unity among Western allies as they try to bring an end to fighting in the region. No, let's talk about what that real sense of unity is. Western leaders have a real sense of unity around spending U.S. taxpayer money on non-U.S. taxpayer beneficiary activities. Starmer was part of a group of Western leaders who met with Donald Trump and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky in the White House on Monday for talks about the war in Ukraine. It followed the U.S. president's in-person meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin in Alaska last week. Details of post-security guarantees for Ukraine are under discussion. On Wednesday, military chiefs representing European Coalition of the Willing Nations, including the UK's Sir Tony Radakin, will meet with U.S. counterparts in Washington to discuss how they could collectively protect Ukraine from future Russian aggression.
Do you notice the use of the phrase "coalition of the willing"? That's the second time it's been used, right? It was used in the beginning for the invasion of Iraq. So they're trying to steal a little bit of thunder there and use that whole thing. But did you see that compromise suit that Zelensky wore? He was told he had to wear a suit, so he wore something similar. I was going to say that Zelensky's suit was gay, but then I felt it was redundant to say that. So I did it. But
I didn't see it. Hold on. Oh, God damn it.
It looks like something taken off of a women's rack somewhere. So.
You know what it looks like to me? This looks, and I'm not even making this up. This looks to me like several work suit companies that I've seen for the tech sector that make work suits that are actually sweaters. Like it's like wearing a hoodie and sweatpants, but it's a that's what it looks like.
So let me give you a tip from the business and executive protection world. Businessmen generally button one button on their suit, not the entire suit. And you generally, if the other person, the most senior person, has his suit unbuttoned, you generally then unbutton yours. What this looks like here is a kid with his dad out. and by not matching what the more senior person in the room is doing, you look like an inferior.
Well, also by tailoring your suit to a size medium, didn't help any in that department.
There's one thing I know about, and it's looking good in a suit. And by the way, I look dang good in a suit. So just throwing that out there. Yeah, Durna, you're right. I knew civilization was over when I saw guys wearing sneakers to the opera with their suit, and I saw a lot of that when all the Europeans were arriving. All these European dignitaries wearing a suit with tennis shoes on. I'm like, seriously?
Jesus.
The other thing that gets me is people who put on a dark suit and then wear brown shoes, or wear brown shoes to a business meeting. That's just not the way that it goes, man.
Yeah, as a poor person, I've never bought brown shoes because I know that there's too many places that I want to wear dress shoes that I can't wear those brown shoes. So
Can't do it.
bunch of weirdos.
If a man is serious, he should wear black shoes, and his shoes should match his belt. I'm just saying.
Yeah, Trump suggested on Tuesday that the U.S. would be willing to contribute to the future protection of Ukraine through air support because nobody has the kind of stuff we have. John Spencer, a former U.S. Army officer who now serves as the chair of war studies at the Madison Policy Forum, said the U.K. and its allies could pledge to help grow Ukraine's army as part of security guarantees for Kiev. Boy, I see reoccurring generational conscription in Ukraine's future. He told Politics Home that Ukraine has impressively scaled up its military from hundreds of thousands to 1 million troops since Russia's illegal invasion. Spencer said if a peace deal is brokered between Ukraine and Russia, but typo by the way to go Politics Home, Western powers could help Ukraine bolster its armed forces to deter another attack because President Trump doesn't want a ceasefire to stay for 2 years and then war to break out again. I mean, smart. A security guarantee could include building a stronger Ukrainian military, he said. It remains to be seen whether a peace agreement can be reached, with reports in recent days suggesting that Putin wants parts of eastern Ukraine before signing any deal. Well, yes, they've made that very clear. Trump has said he has already started making agreements for a Zelensky-Putin meeting in what would be the first in-person meeting in 6 years, and there could be a substantial trilateral meeting involving himself, Zelensky, and Putin. Boy, he wants that real bad, doesn't he?
Augustus Tiberius, I just gave you a 60-second timeout for that comment. You're gone. He said that I look better in 6-inch Rhodesian brushstroke shorts. You're out.
Oh boy. Silkies, baby.
I'm sorry
Um,
for the show, but that had to happen.
So I don't know.
Anyway,
Maybe. So there is one thing Trump says here that I think is important. He says Putin thinks he can get himself something out of a peace talk, and he thinks he can convince Trump that Ukrainians are the problem. The economic factors are important because they're trying hard to get sanctions relief. Really? Really? It hasn't. It hasn't really felt like the sanctions are the thing that are really driving Putin to the table. Maybe I'm wrong.
well, what's funny is when the meeting first ended, everyone was talking about how there's a plan and peace is coming. Now that we're 24, 36 hours in, everyone's like, yeah, there's no plan. There'll be no peace.
Yeah.
So I think that we realize that Europe doesn't want peace. Trump and Putin can want peace all they want. If the other side doesn't want peace, you can't have peace.
Well, you
It takes
could.
two people, as Odin the Allfather once said in the Havamal, it takes two to light the candles to peace. And if you don't have two, there you are. The second part of that is only the fool lights the candles for peace, yet fails to sharpen his sword.
Yeah, I would say that it feels kind of. I believe that there could be peace. It just feels like we are unwilling to do what it would take to get there, which is cutting off funding and then letting Ukraine take what it takes when they decide not to make peace. And I think that Ukraine knows that for whatever reason politically, Trump is unwilling to just say, fine then, if you want to keep fighting, then fight on your own dime.
Yeah.
Point in fact, NATO Air Force scrambles amid overnight Russian drone attack on Ukraine. 2 German Typhoon fighters were deployed, Romanian military said. That
Eurofighter Typhoon, best fighter of the 90s.
2 German fighter jets were scrambled into the Romanian-Ukrainian border on Tuesday night. Why would they scramble to the Romanian border? Why would German... so
because
weird.
it's part of the NATO air policing mission.
Okay, so are they like...
Romania.
Are they like taking turns? So one night it'll be Germany, the next night it'll be Spain or whatever?
Rotating deployment to Russia. Romania.
Gotcha.
And
Okay.
this proves Rick's point that Odessa is still on the menu, because the brunt of these attacks all flew in and struck into the Odessa region, and right up on the border, just across the Danube from Romania.
Interesting. Oleg Kipir, the head of the regional... so let's actually go into that first. Ukraine's Air Force said Russia launched 93 drones and 2 ballistic missiles into the country overnight, of which 62 drones and 1 missile were shot down or suppressed. The Air Force reported drones and missile impacts across 20 locations. Oleg Kipir, the head of the regional Odessa administration, said drones hit infrastructure and production facilities in the city of Izmail and the Danube River at the border with Romania. Looks like fires broke out at the site. Oh, geez.
Interesting firefighting apparatus they have there, but that's apparently at some sort of a fuel facility at the port.
That would explain the firefighting. That would explain the extra firefighting apparatuses. Let's see. The attack prompted the scrambling of 2 German Air Force Typhoon fighters to monitor the air situation in the border area with Ukraine. The German aircraft are currently deploying to Romania as part of NATO's enhanced air policing mission, as you're talking about. Romania's air surveillance system identified groups of drones launched by the Russian Federation that attacked Ukrainian ports on the Danube. Since when has NATO been helping to intercept those the attacks on Ukraine?
You know, this was Putin pointing out that he holds the cards, not anyone else. And he's also, these attacks in the Odessa region were a direct thumb in the nose of NATO. Hey, look, I can strike right up, literally right up to your border, and there's nothing you can do about it. This was less about attacking Ukraine as it was about showing NATO that he can drop a precision-guided munition just across the river from them, and there's not a thing they can do about it.
Okay. The article goes on to explain what I was wondering, which is the justification NATO's using for this. And the justification NATO's using is that some of these have gone long and landed in Romania, Lithuania, and Latvia. And so that's their justification for shooting them down when they come this direction without getting involved in the war. Even though this definitely does there's not really a lot of ambiguity here. This is NATO acting on the side of Ukraine. Interesting. Russia's defense ministry, meanwhile, said its forces shot down 43 Ukrainian drones overnight into Wednesday. So, yeah, it doesn't even really appear to be much of a slowdown on either side, if we're being honest.
Right.
Give me just a moment. The next article is making me complete a CAPTCHA. Here we go. Joe thought it would be fun if we included a map segment without Scott so that I could trip over the Ukrainian place.
Does the map segment exist? Yes, it does.
So we're going to look at how Ukraine's front line has moved. President Vladimir Putin's demand that Ukraine cede the entirety of the Donbass region before Russia stops fighting has highlighted a central question in many negotiations: where to draw a borderline both sides could accept. But finding a solution will be fraught. President Volodymyr Zelensky flatly rejected Russia's proposal, invoking Ukraine's constitution, which states that its territory is indivisible and innegotiable. Well, that's going to be an issue. Well, that's how much of the Donbass Ukraine actually has control over.
Which is actually more than what they controlled in 2014. Because in 2014, all of Luhansk and Donetsk, the Donbass, had completely seceded from Ukraine. So,
yeah, actually, I'm not even sure this map is up to date. Isn't this the river, and don't they control basically everything up to here as well? We'll see. Ukraine has long said that its goal is to restore the borders that were in place before Russia first invaded more than a decade ago. Not going to happen. Putin has shown no willingness to end his pursuit of the Donbass. Agreeing to a new border will require the formalizing a 750-mile front that has violently shifted, sometimes in Ukraine's favor, other times in Russia's, for years. Here's a look at Russia's advances into Ukrainian territory since the first invaded Crimea. So here's the 2022 invasion, and I think that these are the furthest regions.
Well, they actually had quite. They were almost all the way to Kiev.
Yeah, they had almost a full encirclement, and yeah, they pushed past Kherson. Now they've been pushed back to Kherson, but I believe that they're still right, or Kherson, but I believe they're still right there on the river. By late March, Russia had reached the high water mark of its territorial control of Ukraine. Yeah, so this would have been the most they had. Ukraine launched a counteroffensive, pushed them back to the river in most scenarios, and then all the way back.
Was it so much a counteroffensive as it was Russia pulling out and redeploying?
I think that's accurate. I think in the north it was probably a counteroffensive. But
correct. They did push them out of that region north of Kiev, but I don't think they pushed them out of the north up around Chernobyl. I think they just withdrew and redeployed to the other side.
Yeah, I think that's accurate. stealing as much as they could on the way, I will add. Since then,
The
Russia's
map is deceiving because they always list Crimea as taken in this war. Crimea was gone long before this war. And you can say there was an annexation in 2014. There was, but it was after, prior to the Ukrainian Revolution. Crimea had already voted to leave Ukraine, and Ukraine had already approved it. So I know I've said that a million times, but I'm going to keep on doing it because it is a historical fact. So,
Yep. Russia still has some way from achieving full control of the Donbass, which the Kremlin typically sees as comprising the Donetsk and Luhansk regions in eastern Ukraine. Moscow now controls almost all of Luhansk, but Ukraine still controls more than 2,500 square miles of the territory in Donbass. The territory Ukraine holds in Donbass is among the most heavily fortified areas of the front and includes two major cities, Slovinsk and Kramatorsk, which have served as Ukraine's military hubs since 2014. A Ukrainian withdrawal from that area would see it lose its defensive positions.
I feel like you were honoring Scott when you mispronounced Slavyansk, but that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah.
You got Kramatorsk pretty well, so you
why
did
we're
better than Scott. So,
and then last one for today. Oh, shoot. We might not get much of this because it, I think, actually, hold on. Let me see if I can get a quick archive for this one.
Marlene asks if Zelensky is gone, who steps up in Ukraine? That's a great question. There are no good choices. Is the problem? So who knows?
All right, here we go. It would be a terrible loss. Ukrainian frontline troops skeptical of ceding land. You don't say. Guys that have been hyped up and forced into a war situation where they've watched their friends get butchered on a daily basis aren't eager to give up. Weird. That's never happened anywhere. I'm not even going to try. You want to try for that one?
Well, here's the thing. What's a more terrible loss? You losing a little bit of territory or being killed over territory you could never have held, which is what we saw happen in Mariupol. It's what we saw happen in, what was the other city in the north where they did that, where they fought to the last man? Up there by Kharkiv, a little bit to the north or northwest of Kharkiv. But holding these territories to the last man when it's just silly. And I'm certainly not trying to paint the Russians as the good guys here, but in that particular situation, in Mariupol, they said, hey, listen, we really don't want to kill you all. We'll give you safe passage. Please just leave. And they refused. And then we find out why later, because there were a bunch of NATO senior officers trapped underground that they were trying to get out, and it didn't happen. But it's pretty crazy. The best part about this article, though, is the counter-drone warfare information down there, about 3 or 4 paragraphs.
Let's see.
It shows a picture of a guy putting together a drone, and it talks about why he has to move immediately.
Let's see. In the late afternoon, the day crew heads out of a German-made with a German-made vector drone. They set off as briskly as the rough road allows and arrive at a carefully made concrete dugout that is hard to see until you're close up. Getting going requires more than half an hour of setup. First, the internet connection has to be established via Starlink that a base station for the drone is wired up, before finally the vector makes a vertical takeoff. After a few seconds, it can no longer be heard. One of the crew has the job of monitoring signals from the Russian first-person FPV drones, feared because their pilots are adept at flying their exploding aircraft into people and vehicles at speed. A small display periodically descends into static, meaning a drone is near. If a picture emerges, it means an enemy drone is close because each side can see the other's FPV feeds. At one point, it is thought we have been spotted. There is a hasty rush into the bunker. though the threat goes away. Below, a couple of crew members analyzed the footage from the Vector. The footage is of extraordinary quality. The lens cost $30,000, the team leader explains. The pilot uses uses an unbranded Xbox controller. Once a target of interest is spotted, it can be clicked on and locked onto. Let's see.
Basically, the part that I was talking about was at the very beginning when he says, hey, they launch a drone and then they immediately get back in their vehicles and take off. And they say, hey, look, we have to move the minute we launch a drone because the Russians see it the minute it hits the air. That's using essentially a spectrum analyzer and a directional antenna, right? You could do the same thing yourself using those things. If you're watching the whole electromagnetic spectrum and you've got your directional array pointing out in the direction, the minute a drone gets up and starts emitting a signal, it pops up and you know right where it is and you know right where it launched from, and you immediately launch a rocket down there. It's just like counter battery artillery fire, right? Once we see a mortar or an artillery launch, you launch rounds right back at that spot because it takes time to hook the guns up to a truck or dismantle a mortar. Same thing here. They see a drone hit the air, they launch a missile right back down the azimuth of where that came from, hoping to hit that drone crew. Dealing with drones is just like dealing with canines. You don't fight the dog, you fight the handler. Same deal here. They want to kill the controller because if they shoot drones out of the sky, they'll just keep taking drones out of the box. If I kill all of the drone operators that I can, they run out of guys to run the drones.
Yep. Very, very true. Or the maintenance crews. I mean, there's so many weak points in a system like this. Well, all right, folks, that's it for us today. Thank you so much for joining us. Joe, do you have anything for the folks before they go?
Well, yeah, I would be paying attention to anti-Trump protests that may be coming up this weekend. Pay attention to what Mike Shelby's putting out. He's mentioning a lot of these things stepping up and ramping up, and the level of violence that the left is willing to exert. I want you also to pay attention to the rhetoric being used to describe the Washington, D.C. military operation. When you look at all of the leftist papers, the Washington Post, whatever it says, Republican states deploy troops to D.C. as Trump tightens control. They're making it sound like Trump is launching a coup against himself or tightening control to prevent a coup, which is entirely possible. But that means something. They're trying to agitate people into action against the National Guard in Washington, D.C. So watch that. Pay attention to it.
Absolutely. All right, folks. And with that, I think I'm going to cut you loose for the day at an hour and a half. And as Scott would say, stay safe.